Now let's take a listen to what Bonehead White had to say as she's going to point the finger at everybody.
That Stephanie White in the final minute against the Dallas Wings was asking for help because she didn't know what play you think they're going to run.
How in the world are you saying, quote, oh, well, people are prepared for it, so we aren't going to run it?
Another game, just like the last 2 years, Caitlin Clark was a no call, no show in the fourth quarter.
We have to be more disciplined as a coaching staff. And sticking with our rotations, I felt like maybe we played Kelsey and Caitlin especially a little bit too long.
What do you think they're going to run here?
The moment that final buzzer hit, panic completely took over Indiana Fever social media. A 107-104 home loss against a Dallas Wings team that managed just 10 wins all of last season instantly turned every comment section into a full-blown war zone. And somehow Caitlin Clark ended up standing right in the middle of all of it.
Got the continued fallout from the Indiana Fever loss to the Dallas Wings at home in the home opener to a team that won 10 games last year.
And here is the wildest part of all. Clark still put up 20 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell went off for 30 and Aaliyah Boston chipped in 23. Indiana scored 104 points on the night. Offensively, this team was not the problem.
Felt like I was literally a couple buckets away from putting together a really, really good game and helping us win. But our offense is obviously not the issue.
Kelsey dropped 30 points here tonight. What are your thoughts on this, her performance?
I mean, she's special. She's fast. Nobody can stay in front of her. We're not going to be able to outscore teams in this league.
On most nights in the WNBA, those numbers are more than enough to walk away with a win. But Dallas came in and shot an absolutely ridiculous 59% from the field and 52% from three, carving up Indiana's defense on practically every single possession.
Dallas shot 59% from the field, 52% from... What did you see that...
Yet instead of the conversation centering around blown coverages, missed rotations, or the adjustments Stephanie White needs to make on the defensive end, fans immediately locked in on her post-game comments about Caitlin Clark's physical condition and role within the offense.
We want those two to be able to play off of one another, but we also got to create space for Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell is an elite guard who can get her shot off at any time, who can get downhill, who can create matchup problems, who can create rotations to allow Aaliyah and Caitlin's job to be.
And that is exactly where everything got messy. White openly talked about Clark's back issue being an ongoing concern, mentioned problems with her body alignment, and then flat out admitted the coaching staff may have kept both Clark and Mitchell on the floor for too long down the stretch.
And trying to get her body mechanically the way that it needs to go. This is going to be an ongoing thing. Not just her. I mean, we've had multiple.
So now the back problem is going to be an ongoing thing, guys. The back problem is going to be an ongoing thing.
Fever fans heard all of that and immediately felt like Clark was being thrown under the bus. The same player who has been carrying the entire attention of this league on her shoulders for 2 straight years. And honestly, the timing of those comments could not have been any worse.
That Stephanie White in the final minute against the Dallas Wings was asking for help because she didn't know what play you think they're going to run. No wonder you lit the Vanderbilt program on flames. Just burn it to the ground.
Clark already looked visibly frustrated through large stretches of the game, especially late when Dallas defenders started trapping her aggressively and Indiana completely abandoned the Clark and Boston pick and roll combination that was absolutely terrorizing teams all of last season. Fans picked up on it immediately, and they were not quiet about it.
So what does that look like now? Even Raven moving Caitlin off the ball, having a 2-man game with Aaliyah Boston, you have a lot of weapons, and people sometimes don't realize that's when the coaches now, it's your job to mesh that whole thing together and make it work.
Why would you ever take the ball out of the hands of the player who single-handedly transformed this entire franchise? That question is already hanging over the Fever after just 1 game, and the noise surrounding it is getting louder with every passing hour.
Yeah, I think creating space for C and AB to do what they do in the 2-man game. You probably aren't going to see it necessarily on the first side of the floor anymore. Everybody's game plan is ready for that.
What truly sent Fever fans into full meltdown mode was not just the loss itself. It was the growing feeling that Stephanie White is trying to completely reinvent Caitlin Clark rather than simply set her free. Last season, the Clark and Aaliyah Boston 2-player game developed into one of the most dangerous and unstoppable actions in the entire WNBA.
to that point, I've watched a lot of Aaliyah Boston and Unrivaled even coming into this, and she is such a powerhouse that I think, like, I know she's going to be happy to have Caitlin back because that was one of the high targets in the league of that two-man game. So what does that look like now?
Defenders knew exactly what was coming and still could not find a way to stop it because Clark's shooting range forces defenses into full panic mode the second she crosses half court. But against Dallas, Indiana repeatedly pushed Clark off the ball, ran awkward and disjointed half-court sets, and let possession after possession dissolve into isolation basketball that went absolutely nowhere.
This is what I do best, and it's up to you to stop it. She might do it just to shut us up for a little bit, but it ain't gonna be consistent. This isn't a real coach, man. This isn't a real coach.
There were long stretches where Clark looked completely disconnected from the offense while Dallas controlled the entire tempo of the game. Fever fans did not miss a single second of it. Social media exploded with clips showing Clark standing in the corner while defenders loaded up everywhere else on the floor. And suddenly people started asking the one question absolutely nobody expected to be asking this early in the season. Is Indiana actually still building around Caitlin Clark?
I felt like maybe we played Kelsey and Caitlin especially a little bit too long in the second half before getting them a blow as we're working back in. But we got some really good looks. I mean, I think that was exactly what we wanted to get.
And then came the moment that poured gasoline directly onto the fire. During a late-game timeout huddle, cameras appeared to catch Stephanie White asking her assistants what Dallas might run next on the defensive end. The clip went viral almost instantly. Fans read it as pure panic, complete confusion, and a head coach desperately searching for answers while the game slipped right through her fingers.
Make sure they deny. What do you think they're going to run here? And I want to know who she's talking to. Bree January is on the right side right here drinking. Who could she have been asking this question?
Because here is the undeniable reality. Caitlin Clark is not just another player in this league. She is the engine driving sold-out arenas, record-breaking television ratings, and more attention and eyeballs than the WNBA has ever seen at any point in its entire history.
Got the continued fallout from the Indiana Fever loss to the Dallas Wings at home in the home opener to a team that won 10 games last year. The fallout is getting the fandom getting loud. By fandom, I mean Caitlin Clark fandom.
Last season Fever games shattered attendance records across multiple cities, and Clark led all rookies in both scoring and assists while single-handedly dragging Indiana back into relevance on the national stage. So when fans start believing she is being limited rather than empowered, the backlash does not just grow, it goes absolutely nuclear.
By the way, you got some Fever fans out here turning on Caitlin Clark too. That's happening a little bit. There is infighting amongst infight.
And after this loss, many Fever supporters are genuinely feeling like this organization is dangerously close to completely wasting the most valuable and impactful superstar this league has ever had the privilege of calling its own.
This is what happened when you don't build around your engine. Fever front office and White are ruining this team.
The pressure heading into the next game is now absolutely enormous because this is no longer just about one early season loss. This has snowballed into a full-blown identity crisis for the Indiana Fever, and everyone connected to this franchise knows it.
I'm not worried. Okay. And there they go again. Not me anymore. I'm a Washington Mystics fan now. My boy Carlos Garcia just said, hell with it. I'm out.
Fans are staring at this roster and asking how a team built around Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell can still look this chaotic defensively and this inconsistent offensively when the game is on the line. Clark drew constant defensive attention from Dallas all night long, and yet Indiana rarely made the Wings pay a single price for overcommitting to stopping her.
Anytime an offensive player sees Caitlin Clark guarding them, their eyes light up like a Christmas tree. We all know why, because she's a dud defender. Terrible, a human cone, you know this.
And that is exactly what has fans absolutely furious right now. When you have a generational passer who averaged over 8 assists per game as a rookie and can pull defenders all the way out to 30 feet from the basket, this offense should feel completely and utterly unstoppable on any given night.
Nobody can stay in front of her. I'm pleased with not just the 30 points, but the 4 assists. She 3 rebounds. I asked all of our guards to get 3 rebounds, and getting 3 rebounds as well.
Instead, there were long stretches where the Fever looked genuinely confused about who this offense is even supposed to be built around. And in today's WNBA, that kind of confusion does not stay hidden for long. It gets exposed instantly and without mercy.
That Stephanie White in the final minute against the Dallas Wings was asking for help because she didn't know what play you think they're going to run.
But here is the part nobody inside that organization can afford to ignore. Caitlin Clark is still learning how to carry impossible expectations while simultaneously holding the weight of an entire league's growth on her shoulders. Every missed shot turns into national discourse. Every turnover trends online within minutes. Every single loss becomes a full-blown referendum on her greatness.
The fallout is getting like the fandom getting loud. By fandom, I mean Caitlin Clark fandom. You had a lot of things coming out of that. You had the great mystery of back injury. Is it a back injury compensating for something?
That level of pressure would completely crush most players. Yet despite all the chaos and noise surrounding her, Clark still flashed the moments that remind every single person watching exactly why the hype exists in the first place. The deep shooting range, the live dribble passing, the ability to completely reshape defensive spacing with just her presence on the floor, those are things you simply cannot teach anyone. The Fever do not need to fix Caitlin Clark. They need to fully maximize her and then get out of her way.
Agumbawale step back in. Mitchell with 15 points leads the way for Indiana. Neither team is led by more than 5. James for this first half. She has 12 points in this second quarter. James, you bigly in this game.
Because if Indiana keeps drifting further away from everything that made this team genuinely dangerous, the fan backlash is only going to grow louder and more intense with every passing game. And if Stephanie White keeps sounding defensive at the podium while the losses continue to pile up, the conversation will shift very quickly from what is wrong with Caitlin Clark to how much longer before Indiana is forced to make a very serious and very public change.
I want to know when she's going to address her coaching staff's game plan on the defensive end. We didn't double team Paige Becker. She got free will to do whatever she wanted. When is Stephanie White going to take accountability and point the finger at her coaching? Indiana Fever look like an abomination, man. This is crazy.
Everybody immediately, I'm looking at the TV going, wait, what? What are we talking about here? We're doing the injury thing again. They're saying it's precautionary.
They like talking to people, platforming people, going on platforms of people who just trash this fan base, who just trash this team.
Anytime an offensive player sees Caitlin Clark guarding them, their eyes light up like a Christmas tree.